Let's go through the top upcoming phones at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. The Vivo X30 is coming very soon. This is the latest flagship phone from Vivo. This will be using an Exynos chipset from Samsung, the Exynos 980. This is actually known as a mid-range chipset from Samsung, although it is quite powerful, but the important feature is that it has integrated 5G. If we were left in any doubt that 5G is going to be one of the biggest factors in smartphones going into 2020, then be very sure that flagship and mid-range phones are pretty much all going to carry 5G in the coming months. We got some leaked boxes and information about the phone, and it looks to be carrying on the bezel-less trend for Vivo. Oppo are planning to be one of the first manufacturers to use the new mid-range chipsets from Snapdragon that have an integrated 5G modem. The main selling point of these phones is that they're going to be cheap, at least for 5G phones. They'll be bringing 5G to the mid-range with phones that cost in the region of about $400 US. Nothing much else is known about these phones in terms of the setup, but what we do know is they'll be using the new 7 series chipsets from Snapdragon. Moving on to about March next year in 2020, we'll be getting the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. The OnePlus range will again feature 5G as standard. The design of both the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro looks to be already determined and has already been leaked. The OnePlus 8 Pro will ditch the pop-up camera and return to a design with a cutout display. It's cheaper to manufacture, it makes the phone smaller and lighter, and there are just less problems without those mechanisms for the pop-up. It also leaves more space inside for internal components such as bigger camera units and the 5G integrated chipset. Expect 90Hz 2K curved displays like we saw on this year's models, improved camera hardware and the ditching of that 48 megapixel sensor from Sony, the integration of faster charging speeds using one of the Oppo technologies. For me, the thing that Oppo need to give us in next year's OnePlus 8 models is wireless charging. The OnePlus brand is not a flagship killer brand anymore. It is an affordable flagship brand, and so we should be more critical of the devices that leave out those flagship type components. Xiaomi are about to release the Xiaomi CC9 Pro, or the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 as it will be called outside of China. The CC9 Pro will pack in a lot of brand new hardware for Xiaomi. This is the first time we are seeing a penta camera system. Yes, that is 5 cameras in a Xiaomi smartphone. It features that brand new 108 megapixel camera sensor developed for Xiaomi in conjunction with Samsung. It also features a curved OLED display and apparently will be using a mid-range 730 or 730G Snapdragon chipset. We could see at least the 108 megapixel main sensor or possibly the entire penta camera setup moved over to the Mi 10. One of the main differences will definitely be the inclusion of Snapdragon's latest chipset. If it carries on like last year, Xiaomi will be one of the first mainstream manufacturers to feature Snapdragon's brand new flagship chipset. Coming in 2019, however, is the Xiaomi Mi Mix Alpha. Before the end of the year, this roughly $3,000 smartphone will actually go on sale in China. At the moment, I haven't heard of any plans to start selling this product worldwide, but that may come in 2020. This phone had massive hype when it was released, and it features an incredible new design that we've not seen before, where the screen actually just goes the entire way around the phone. It also uses that 108 megapixel camera sensor, and of course no selfie camera because you just don't need it. I went and saw one of the 15 or so display units around mainland China, and it is an incredible looking phone out of the future, but certainly it's not going to be a mainstream phone for a very long time. The Redmi K30, the sequel to one of the most hyped phones of 2019. We know for a fact that the Redmi K30 will carry 5G, and we also know for a fact that it will be ditching the pop-up camera and using a cutout hole punch display. Redmi have confirmed they are working on this device, but they are yet to give us any information on a release date. The K20 range used Snapdragon chipsets, the 730 and the 855. But there have been heavy rumors that Redmi may change and use MediaTek chipsets in the K30 range. MediaTek have an upcoming 5G flagship chipset that Redmi might use. This is based on some information of supply chain orders, but my personal opinion is that for a flagship killer and the brand that the K series has built up, it does need to continue using the Snapdragon chipsets. If it doesn't, it may lose some of its appeal. That's just my opinion, but Redmi aren't going to listen to me anyway. Huawei are about to release this year the Nova 6 and the Honor V30. Both of these phones are tipped to feature 5G models. The V30 apparently coming in only a 5G model, and the Nova 6 coming with a Pro and a non-Pro variant. The non-Pro having 4G and the Pro having 5G. Both phones have been tipped to carry 40-watt fast wide charging and improved wireless charging speeds too. Other than that, details about the devices have been leaked, but there's not much confirmation from Huawei as yet. And of course, Huawei's next flagship product, the P40 series, will be released at the start of 2020. Not much is known about the phones, but they will be using the brand new Kirin 990 chipsets with 5G. The big question is, will they implement the waterfall type screen that we saw in the Mate 30 series? And secondly, will they implement Harmony OS, Android, a mix of both Harmony OS and Android? And will they even be sold outside of China? How will that go? We still don't know. In February 2020, we may see the release of Samsung's new flagship phones, the S11 series. Confirmed to have 3 models in the range, the S11e, the S11 and the S11 Plus. All 3 models are getting brand new chipsets, the new Snapdragon and of course the new Exynos integrated 5G chipset. A larger fingerprint sensor cutout has been tipped, and the main improvement on this phone lineup is going to be the cameras, with a bigger, higher megapixel main camera and the inclusion of a periscope type zoom camera to bring it in line with Huawei's P30 and P40 series. So they're the biggest releases coming up in the last 2 months of 2019 and the first 2 months of 2020. Let me know which one you are looking forward to most. Subscribe for all the latest tech news. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.